2050, we calculate that the additional investments over the baseline scenario will need to be 46 trillion US dollars between now and 2050 at a global level. This is clearly a very large amount, but it represents only around a 17% increase above what we would need anyway to meet the energy needs in the baseline scenario. And almost half of these additional investments are required in the transport sector for advanced vehicle technologies. However, the transition to a low-carbon energy system will also yield very significant energy savings through fuel savings. Again, nearly half of them coming from the transport sector. Undiscounted savings over the period to 2050 are estimated at 112 trillion US dollars, resulting in a net saving, if one takes that 112 away from the 46 additional investment, in savings of 66 trillion US dollars. And we know that we have to make these upfront investments first, and then we'll get the fuel savings later. But even if we discount both the investments and the fuel savings back to current levels as a 10% discount rate, the fuel savings in the blue map scenario still outweigh the additional investment needed. So the blue map scenario can save us money. I would now like to share with you a few results for the United States. In the blue map scenario, our least cost analysis shows that to reduce emissions globally by 50%, the United States should reduce its emissions by around 80% from 2007 levels. This could also bring enormous benefits by reducing fossil fuel dependency, so enhancing energy security. In the baseline scenario for the US, total primary energy supply increased modestly with a 5% rise between 2007 and 2050. However, fossil fuels remain the dominant energy source and still account for more than 3/4 of total primary energy supply in 2050. In contrast, under our blue map scenario, overall primary energy supply is reduced by 17% over the period to 2050. Fossil fuel demand is reduced significantly by around 2/3, as the overall energy mix changes with nuclear, biomass and renewables all playing a major role. So you can see from the graphic that in 2050, compared to 2007 levels, coal declines by 70%, oil by 62%, and natural gas by 59%. Deep reductions in US greenhouse gas emissions are achievable through the application of a mix of energy technologies currently available today and the introduction of new technologies that are being developed. Action will be needed across every sector. Measures to improve energy efficiency and fuel switching could together provide about 1/3 of all emissions reductions. Other major contributors include CCS, renewables, nuclear power, and in transport, fuel cell vehicles and plug-in hybrid and full electric vehicles. How are we going to achieve this? Well, countries will need to introduce a range of different policies to help drive the needed deployment of low-carbon technologies, as many of these are currently more expensive than the incumbents. The aim should be to bring down the costs and accelerate deployment through the push of research, development and demonstration, and also the pull of market deployment. We believe that a price on carbon is needed to send a strong signal to the market, but on its own it's unlikely that this will be enough to transform our energy system. Other policies will be needed to support technology development and deployment, and these policies will need to be tailored to reflect the different stages of technology maturity. In addition, we calculate that public RD&D spending must at least double. Our analysis shows that this may need to be as high as 5 times current levels to get these technologies ready for the market. And greater international collaboration, including with the private sector, will also help to accelerate technology development and deployment. And this slide shows the different types of support that may be appropriate depending on the level of maturity of the technology. Less mature technologies like CCS and fuel cells need strong government support in the form of R&D funding and then financing of demonstration projects. Going up the curve in terms of competitiveness, a number of countries have successfully supported technologies such as wind and photovoltaics with targeted policies like feed-in tariffs or tax credits. Next, as the technologies become more competitive and mature in the market, governments need to remove technology-specific support and shift to a technology-neutral support, for example in the form of green certificates or more general carbon trading. And finally, a number of energy efficiency technologies fall into the fourth category. The technology is mature and it's cost competitive, but it's not being fully taken up by the market due to a lack of either consumer awareness or other market failures. And this requires targeted action to address these non-cost barriers. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, we may in fact be witnessing the beginning of the historic transition to an energy revolution, but we still have formidable challenges before us. We need to break the historical link between CO2 emissions and economic output. Tackling climate change and enhancing energy security requires a massive decarbonisation of the energy system through the widespread introduction of existing and new low-carbon technologies. Improving energy efficiency should be a priority, coupled with deploying low-carbon electricity generating technologies. We also need to develop and demonstrate the new low-carbon technologies that we will need in 10 or 20 years' time. Action by OECD countries alone will not be sufficient. This has to be a truly global effort. So in launching ETP 2010 today, our call is for governments, industry and consumers to work together to tackle the challenges we face and help ensure we follow a path to a more sustainable and secure energy future. The beginnings of the energy technology revolution can be seen in sectors such as transport and renewables. Let us build on this to make the revolutionary future a reality together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mr. Tanaka. I'm sure you'll have quite a few questions. And we'd be grateful if you just quickly introduce yourself and state the name of the media you're working for. The room is not too big, so probably we don't need microphones, but if so, we have 2 handhelds on each side. Please go ahead.